Hello, good afternoon. Here are developing stories on the marketplace this afternoon. Government provides about 1.4 billion cedis in bailout for remaining customers of defunct fund management firms, including Black-Scholes Lim Capital. Also, the Monetary Policy Committee begins 97th meeting today. Of course, will there be an ease in the policy rates after conclusion of the meeting on Friday? We have details on this. Plus, fuel prices expected to go up from next month after weeks of stability and in some cases, marginal reduction. We have more in our Business Desk report. Hello once again, I'm Charles Ita. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with the details of these stories. Hello and welcome to the program. Now, government has provided about 1.4 billion cedis in bailouts for remaining customers of defunct fund management firms. Now, this will cover those that their payments are yet to be finalized due to the ongoing court process on the liquidation process. JoyNews has more in this report.
According to a statement from the Securities and Exchange Commission, government is hoping to make these payments while the Registrar General work on finalizing the ongoing liquidation process to aid the payment to these customers. The Commission noted in the statement that the decision to make these partial payments was in line with government's commitment to protect citizens in these challenging times of COVID-19. It also maintained that the support has become necessary due to the current challenges that has come about with respect to the ongoing court processes and how it has affected the payment process. The statement added that the government was, however, worried that if they should wait for the entire process to be exhausted, maybe these customers may never get their funds, hence the need to provide the support. Joy Business understands that it will cover all the customers identified as having their funds locked up with these defunct fund management firms until the entire court processes are finalized. The payment will cover a little over 92,000 claims that have been validated, whilst the payment will be done through a special purpose vehicle managed by GCB Capital.
Meanwhile, aggrieved customers of UTrecht Fund Management are mounting pressure on management of the failed firm to facilitate processes to pay their locked-up funds. The leader of the aggrieved customers, George Kofi Boateng, says an amount of 84 million Ghana cedis is locked up with the fund management firm. They want their funds released. Of course, Prince Appiah has been following up and has come through with this report.
In 2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission revoked the licenses of 34 fund management and finance houses in Ghana. UTrecht Fund Management was one of the affected. Though the government has voted some money to pay up locked up funds of depositors, aggrieved customers of UTrecht Fund Management say they are yet to be paid. George Kofi Boateng is chairman of the group.
We have to put pressure on him to sort of agree to the liquidation order. Well, I have engaged him for the past 2 years, and we believe so far 84 million Ghana cedis is involved, and they have 34 million Ghana cedis at the CBG. So the good government is willing to make up the difference. And then we have our peace of mind. So why is he not playing games? Why is he not agreeing to the liquidation process? It's up to him. So we have to put pressure on him for him to agree to the liquidation.
According to the customers, the fund management is frustrating them because of its refusal to go into liquidation. Secretary of the group, Martin Boachidanko, warned they will resort to the worst if they do not receive their funds.
Pensioners who put their money there and it's been locked up. Even here, a couple of them have died, and some of us who use our pension to give it to UTrecht suffering. Some of them even lost their wives and their husbands. And of course, this COVID period, if you don't have regular income, it's not easy. So pressure must go on to enable us to, get our money. And also, to me, is not being fair to the government, because the government is willing to pay the money. And then why should you be difficult?
Prince Apia reporting.
And even as these locked up funds are expected to be released soon, we're just hoping that these, restrained customers, very much depressed and frustrated, could get themselves sorted out in the process. We shall be keeping an eye on this development to give you updates as and when we do have them. But away from that, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana will begin its 97th quarterly meeting from today, with all eyes on whether or not the policy rate, that is the rate at which the commercial banks borrow from the central bank, will go down. Charles Nexinieboa has more in this report.
To be chaired by the Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, the 7-member committee is expected to review development in the Ghanaian economy in the last 3 months and make projections for the next quarter. But the most important issue to be at the center of discussion is whether to cut the base lending rate to ease the cost of credit in the country. The policy rate presently stands at 14.5%, but average lending rate hovers around 21%, a situation which many businesses have described as still high and keeping cost of operations relatively expensive. Some analysts believe the policy rate will be maintained because of the potential upside risk to inflation during Christmas, when there could be increased spending and the potential desire by retailers to take advantage of the demand to increase prices. The governor has also hinted of a possible maintenance of the policy rate.
We probably need to have patience to allow the system to consolidate itself and expect interest rates to go down consequently. And I say so because if you look at the profile of policy rates over the last 3 years, we have consistently gone down.
Overall, the committee will adopt a monetary policy that will help to reduce inflation and interest rates, as well as effectively regulate money supply in the short term.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has indicated that it is building its dollar reserves to help stabilize the Ghana cedi going into next year. According to the sources close to the regulator, it is hoping to add about $1 billion to the reserves. This could put the central bank's international reserves at around $10 billion by the end of the year. This development could also help address activities of market speculations during the Christmas period in particular, where there are some pressures on the local currency. Of course, meanwhile, some bank treasurers and financial market operators are forecasting some exciting times for the city. But what is the basis for their projections? Well, George Rafi has been giving us some answers.
The Ghana cedi has witnessed one of its strongest performances against the dollar in recent times. Its depreciation against the US dollar from the beginning of this year has been pegged at around 3%. And the projection that the cedi will be strong come next year is based on the current strong reserve position of the Bank of Ghana that is expected to help them deal with the pressure come next year, as well as other programs that the central bank has in place that should give some comfort to investors in terms of the forward sale of forex. All these things may help deal with the usual pressure that the cedi experiences. But for the president of the Association of Financial Market Operators, Kofi Asare, even though he is optimistic about the cedi being strong, it will all depend on how the currency is managed, as well as the broader economy going into next year.
Looking at things, and even the budget that was projected to Parliament, it looks as if there's a lot of expenditure that needs to happen in the months to come. So as a country, we're always going to be optimistic, but we just know it's going to be challenging and it will require even more superior leadership. And we have confidence in the system, that the system works. And so I think that we'll navigate it tomorrow together.
Well, we all look forward to see how things will play out in 2021 and whether all these projections and forecasts by these bank treasurers and analysts will be anything to go by.
Now, interest rates on treasury bills could be falling in the coming weeks, but marginally if the consistent drop in inflation is sustained. Now, this could also ease the cost of credit, albeit slightly. Charles Nexinieboa has more in this report.
Persistent decline in inflation since July towards the Bank of Ghana's target band of 6 to 10% could create a window of opportunity to drive down treasury yields in the coming weeks. This is because demand has exceeded supply in the last 8 weeks auctioning of treasury bills. Interest rates on the short-term securities have generally fallen so far this year due to efforts by the Bank of Ghana and the Finance Ministry to drive down yields earlier in the year. They have been keen to drive down interest rates to reduce the cost of government borrowing as part of measures to reduce the debt service burden, which is almost 50% of total revenue. But will this push down the monetary policy rate, which stands at 14.5% by next Monday? We leave to see. Meanwhile, the government exceeded its treasury bill sales by 350 million cedis during the last auctioning. It targeted 783 million cedis, but got 1.13 billion cedis for both the 91-day and 182-day treasury bills.
Prices of petroleum products are expected to go up marginally from next month. Now, this is based on data from bulk importers of these products and projections by Joy Business. Well, Joy Jaffe has more in this story.
Joy Business understands that the expected increase is being influenced by prices of finished petroleum products going up on the international market. This is due to news that COVID-19 vaccines will soon be available for global distribution. It is the expectation of these oil transporters that this will lead to some economies opening up or easing of restrictions, a development that will lead to demand for their products picking up again. But the good news for consumers locally is that the Ghana cedi has been fairly stable, and that's why we may not witness any substantial increase in prices at the pumps, irrespective of whatever happens on the international market. There are currently over 100 oil marketing companies in the country, and there's a likelihood that some of them may absorb the expected increase, whilst others may keep prices unchanged. However, it is not clear for now whether from next month we're going to see some sustained increase in prices following these developments on the global market. Again, studying the numbers for the next 2 weeks, prices are supposed to go down for this period before it goes up from next month. For some analysts, the most important thing when it comes to prices of petroleum products has to do with the performance of the Ghana cedi. Now, as long as the currency is stable, prices may not witness any significant adjustment at the pumps. A litre of petrol and diesel are currently being sold at around 4 Ghana cedis, 77 pesos. This should translate into a gallon going for 21 Ghana cedis, 46 pesos.
Italian oil giant Eni has hinted of hitting back at the government, saying that it is acting in full compliance with the law together with its partner, Vitol, and therefore remaining open to exploring any potential unitization that will optimize hydrocarbon recovery from the Sankofa field. Eni's statement is coming on the back of the directive by the Energy Ministry to combine its adjacent oil and gas fields with indigenous firm Springfield after both parties failed to reach an agreement. There is more on this developing story.
According to Eni, the report supporting the position of the Energy Ministry neither demonstrates the existence of communication between Sankofa and Afina, nor ascertains definitively that the discovery are producible. Together with Vitol, it said they are looking forward to a collaborative engagement on the unitization issue in order to reach a consensual outcome reflecting applicable law, relevant project agreement, and industry standards. Furthermore, unitizations are a common practice in the oil and gas sector as they allow to maximize production and share production and cost among the parties on a fair and equitable basis. As such, Eni has been involved in various parts of the world in the unitization of several straddling fields, and therefore together with Vitol are in no way against evaluating the possibility for unitization should sufficient and reliable subsurface data show that the Sankofa field and Springfield's Afina discovery are straddling. However, to date, they have not received discovery data to ascertain whether the Afina discovery drilled 1 year ago and never tested, and the Sankofa Sinomanian oil field, which has been in production for about 3.5 years, are straddling the License border, among others. Additionally, there has also not been any appraisal of the Afina discovery that would establish commerciality of the discovery and allow the parties to progress on the unitization process.
And you're still watching The Marketplace. Now, Ghana Standards Authorities collaborating with the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, to certify small and medium-scale businesses which sell COVID-19 collaterals to be able to maintain standards. Now, this follows the introduction of a progressive licensing scheme by the FDA to empower more micro, small and medium enterprises. According to the FDA, a risk-based categorization of regulated products will allow MSMEs to acquire market authorization. In an engagement with Joy Business, Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodo, said this will reduce the cost of production to SMEs and also enable them to be more productive.
Indeed, the GSA has decided to, one, partner and mirror the FDA. So as you will notice, we are one more or less in all the activities because companies need both the FDA and the GSA. And the moment the FDA announced the progressive licenses, the GSA decided that we will match it with our certification using the information from the Food and Drugs Authority. The FDA has done a terrific job with us, and we intend to support the FDA to achieve what we both want, because by working with them, we can remove cost to industry by 70%. They make their money, we make our money, industry gains about 70%, and everybody is happy.
Does it mean that you have to, some way or the other, reduce your standard?
No, we rather have increased our standard, but for progressive licensing, we are saying that what is the lowest, safest standard to bring people onto the formal structure, and then you improve it to from bronze to silver and to gold. So it's not lowering the standard, but it's bringing the poorest of the poor onto a formal structure so that they can grow.
Well, Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen is asking GUTA, that's the Ghana Union of Traders Association, to leave the closure of shops of foreign traders to the retail committee that has been set up by government. He says government does not want the traders to shut down these shops belonging to foreigners who continue to violate Ghana's trade laws, but rather leave them to the hands of the committee. The minister made this appeal during the inauguration of the Central Regional Branch of the Ghana Union of Traders Association in Cape Coast. Richard Kojonyako has the rest of the story.
In a speech read on his behalf by the Technical Advisor Domestic Trade, Intim Donko, the Minister of Trade, Alan Kyerematen, emphasized how the African Continental Trade Agreement was going to help boost businesses in Ghana come January when it kickstarts. The Trade Minister assured government had set up a retail committee that is considering the concerns of GUTA and urged the traders to allow the committee undertake the closure of the shops of foreigners who are violating the retail laws of the country.
GUTA's outcry that foreigners are taking over trading activities reserved for Ghanaian traders has come to government's attention. The Committee on Foreigners in Retail Trade, CFRT, set up by the Ministry as directed by His Excellency the President, comprising representatives of various regulatory agencies and institutions, has been tasked with the responsibility of conducting inspections of retail shops in designated commercial districts in various cities and towns to ensure compliance with the retail laws and regulations. Your association is also kindly reminded that you should leave the work in the hands of the Retail Trade Committee, and from now onwards, please kindly stop locking shops. We will do that for you.
GUTA President Dr. Joseph Obin called for peace from the political actors in the upcoming elections so the business environment in Ghana could be secured.
It should be noted that businesses are the worst affected in the event of any civil unrest that may destabilize the country. We should recognize the fact that all citizens of Ghana have equal stake as far as the country is concerned.
Regional Chairman of GUTA, Kofi Makati, appealed for support for traders to enable them stay in business.
To make Ghana competitive, not only in the sub-region, but also in the forthcoming African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, so that we can take advantage of the opportunity that the Continental Free Trade Agreement would offer to enable us develop and realize our vision.
The new executives of GUTA Central Region were outdoored and tasked to perform their functions efficiently, respecting the new offices they hold. Richard Kojonyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Well, before we go, a story making the headlines this week: the resignation of the special prosecutor Martin Amidou has got the world talking. Despite the political twist, some are wondering the possible implications his resignation will have on Ghana's fight against corruption and the country's business image on the international financial market. Sandra Eshinam Afenu has been engaging some Ghanaians abroad, one of them a professor of accounting and financial management at the University of Sheffield, UK, who says business confidence in Ghana has been dented.
We thought we were closer to, trying to unravel some of the mysteries surrounding contracts and then corruption allegations in Ghana, probe into Airbus scandal and all that. Then we had this news. First of all, how did you receive this news?
You know, I wasn't too surprised, okay, because this is Ghana, right? Let's look at how even Martin Amidou even got into the position itself. When it comes to corruption, Ghana has always been fighting a losing battle, okay, because we've been politicizing the fight instead of, an all-hands-on-deck approach. Look at the Japadi. We feel, by the details that are coming out, it's hitting too close to home, and it's too much less comfort for people to bear. So what? Martin Amidou is suffocated, and then the kitchen became too hot, and he has to go.
But what do you make of his exit? And then people who have said that we are not too surprised because almost 2 years in office has done nothing.
The tone of the letter, the resignation letter, its content reveals quite a lot, and which then goes to question the government's reason for even setting up the office in the first place, let alone appointing Martin Amidou as a special prosecutor. Because you look at all the largesse around government, state property around government or state estate, and the sort of like, how shall I put it, presidential aides occupying some splash offices and lush offices around town, and such a sensitive office to be crammed in a 3-bedroom house. I think that it doesn't really reveal enough commitment to fight the situation. So I told that knowing him for who he is, he's actually held on the rope for a very long time.
Henry, let me bring you in here. Do you think that Martin actually has an excuse? We've seen it done elsewhere before. Let's take even South Africa, that is very close to us, where a woman, not to belittle women anyway, but a special prosecutor in South Africa went fearlessly after Jacob Zuma for corruption charges and all that. So yes, we knew the caliber of person Martin Amidou was. We knew what he stood for. He's come out to say his office was not well equipped. Do you think he has an excuse, Henry?
If you give an individual a job, it only stands to reason that you give him the resources he needs to get that job done. Clearly, from his letter, he wasn't given the resources he needed to get this work done effectively. And so to exit, I think, was the right thing to do, in part because it has reminded us as a people that we are not really serious about fighting corruption. And I think that's the right signal that needed to be sent one more time. Just remind everyone in Ghana that if we're really saying that we're serious about fighting corruption, regardless of what side of the political divide we're on, then we should really be putting the resources that are needed to actually making this fight effective.
What do you think this resignation is going to do to the image of Ghana when it comes to the international community doing business with Ghana?
From where I ended off, as I said, it's actually the most damning verdict. And if you read it also, it's just not the president. The finance minister is mentioned, and don't forget that Ejapa was, a baby of the finance ministry. So he's got that role trusted in him by the Constitution to actually ensure that the right thing is done. So now, but to a large extent, what it means is that anyone at all who's touched Ejapa, as far as due diligence is concerned.
Of course, the conversation will continue, the resignation of Martin Amidou and, of course, the acceptance of his resignation by President Akufo-Addo. That makes it for Marketplace for this edition. I'm Charles Aite.